Hi, and welcome to Discovering DataFlex. Last week, we created a few tables, and this week, we're going to create some views for these tables. We're going to do a couple of experiments. But first, we're going to correct two things that I missed last week. Let's dive in. So what did I miss last time? Actually, it was in the tables. And one thing that I'm always doing wrong is that I'm naming these with a lower caps. It's actually preferable to have a capital letter. You see the default DataFlex tables here. They have a capital letter. So when you create new tables, it's good to both have the column names, and you can actually change these. Description, category, location. We might want to keep the underscore, or we can do it like that. So let's do it like that. And I also forgot an additional column here. And that was the expiration. Date. And this should be a date. There you go. And we also want to add an index for the date. So we add this expiration date. And again, we're looking at rows here. They should be unique. So we add an ID. And we save that. We can also look at the location and update the name and ID. Save. Now we have just updated the name of these. So we're just going to stage those. We're going to leave it at that for now. So let's begin with creating the views. And the first one is the simplest one. We're just going to create a web view with a wizard here. And DataFlex wants us to call it O for object, location, because we're going to make a view for the location. And we start with a simple, and we pick the location here. So let's see. Oh, that was a little bit too fast. And we add all, so we have the ID and the name. We can do a preview. It looks good, but we could put them on the same line as well, like that. So you can rename and you can play around with things here. So that works just fine. And then we press next and finish. Now we can actually look at this. We have a view and a location, and now I have added some data here, so I can actually look it up. So we can actually create a new one for group 2 and save that one. Yes, and we can see that we have added number 4 here as well. And then we can go back, because now we would like to be able to search for the locations or get them listed somehow. And there's a nice way to do that. You just make a web lookup. So it's the same procedure. Click next, pick the location table, and we don't have to do anything. We just add a name. And here as well, you can do a preview. You can see this is the list of names. This is what it's going to look like. And next, next, finish. So what's happening now is that we get this lookup class here, where we can find different views. And we should actually get a lookup class here as well. But this is caused by a very tiny mistake I made in the last video. So we're going to have a look at that as well. So I'm going to stop this one. I'm going to go back to the table and the location table. And if you look at index 1, it actually says recnum. And why does it do that? I'm going to show you what happened in the last video. So I'm going to delete this. No, okay. I need to stop the, not restart, stop. There you go. And then I can delete the indexes. So what I did was I created a new index and picked the ID. Then I clicked add index and name and ID. And you can go back to the other video and see as well. But if you look up here, you see that ID is pointing to index 2, and that should tell you something. So if I go back here, you can see that it's still pointing at recnum because it wasn't really saved because I didn't click outside. Now you can see it changed to number 1. And if we now run the application, we should get the lookup class there as well. So let's have a look. Yes, save the changes. So view, location. No, we don't get that. Why not? Why not? We actually want to add the lookup to the ID as well. And that's why, because if we have the index when we create the lookup list, it will add it automatically. So let's rerun this. And now we should see that we got an index here as well. So I can pick that one and edit it if I like and save it. So there you go. Now we go for the next view. Now we want to have the item. So we do a similar procedure. And new web view wizard. And we create an item. And just to show you, if you omit the O, DataFlex will suggest you put an O there anyway. So good practice. And this should be the item. And we want to have a name, a description, category, location. We take from the location table and expiration date. Next, we actually want to change the name here to location because that's what it is. We can adjust the items. Maybe we want to move the location besides the category. So we can put that on the same line. We'll see how that looks. Yeah, we could work with that. And name could also be item, but let's leave it at that. And now if we run this, we get an error. So this is the second mistake. If I double click on that, you can see that I changed the field of the category and it wasn't updated in the data dictionary, but the debugger gives us a nice hint on where to find the error. So this was a spelling issue. Let's see if that solved the problem. Yeah, Now it works. So now we have the item view. We can go in here. We can actually look up the location and pick it here. But we can also go here and go back and forth, and it finds the categories and stuff like that. But I would like to be able to select, because if I create a new one and a category, I could type anything here. And the location, basically, if I type something, it won't work either. So I need to pick one of those. And expiration date, this should be a date. So I cannot really type anything weird here. So if I press save, it will kind of try to get the date. And since I'm in the debugger, I will get this one. But otherwise, please enter valid date and valid item category. So the category is not valid. So I want to fix this in the view. And the way we do that is by going to the item again. And I would like to use a, let's see what it's called, web combo. Because we already have this list of things in the item data dictionary up here, and it's a little bit overkill to have the locations here as categories as well. So we want to go with food, perhaps clothing, could be renovation stuff, and holidays, what have you. There's some categories. And then we go back to the item. And this one here, we want to make a date picker. So CWeb date picker or date form, either one works. So we just write date form here. And you can see that we got a selection list here, and we got the date picker here. So let's see how that works. Going to item, and now if we go for some item here, you can see that since we changed the categories, we cannot pick them, but we can actually save these new categories with some new values. Save, yes. So food, clothes. And we don't keep food in the basement, we keep food in the freezer. So let's save that. And now that works. And we can pick an expiration date as well from here. So that's great. And now I would like to have these things in a list as well. So we go back and do the same thing all over again. We do a lookup wizard. Next. And this time it's an item. And we might want to have the name at least. We might want to have the location, and why not expiration date. So this one should change to location. And if we preview, you see we've got this list here. Close that, and next, finish. And when we run this application again, we can go into item, and here we have a list. We can search. We can search for, let's see, wardrobe, and it finds the wardrobe. We can search, let's pick ice cream and search for ice. it finds the ice cream. And that's great. So now we can pick that, and we can pick something, we can pick the paint, and it works. We basically have an entire application, but perhaps you want to have a view where you can pick the location and get a list of the items within it. So we're going to make a header detail, a little bit more advanced view that we can do. So we're going to go here and make the web wizard again. And this time we're going to go for the advanced version. So overview, perhaps. And this time we're going to pick a header detail view. And now it asks us to pick the child data dictionary, which in this case is the item. And the header is the location. So we want the items in the list below, and we want the item on top. So on top, we basically add a name. And in the list below, we want name, we might want category and expire date. And in the name, it should say location again. And next, and finish. And then we run this. And we go into the overview, and we can now pick a location. And we can go to the next location. In the freezer, we have food. And we can go to the next location. In the wardrobe, we have some paint, which has the category renovation. We can actually go in here and edit. So this should probably be some kind of drop down. And we can edit this one. And here you have a lookup, but that should actually be a date picker as well. So let's go and fix that. It defaults to a lookup because it's indexed. So in the object here, we have a web combo, but we want to have a web column date. So this is the one we want. We can actually drag and drop these from here. So, but we're not going to use that functionality. We're just going to use the name of that. And this one, we want it to be a combo. So we have a column combo. Let's use that instead. And the name is fine. And the location is fine. So let's run this and see how that works. View overview. And let's have a look. Here we got the food. We go in here, we can pick which food or which category we want to have. We go in here, and now it's a date picker. So that's perfect. And we can edit this line as we like. We can edit this one. We can actually change this to paint, which is a bit weird, but then we end up in the wardrobe instead. So as we change, they're interconnected. We can actually add a new item, shirt, and this is clothes, and it has an expiration date far in the future somewhere. And when I click enter, it will save the shirt in this wardrobe. So I can go back and forth, and now we have a shirt here. And now we're going to put this in Git as well. So we can see we have some changes made to the application. And basically we can look up here and say that the item data dictionary, we did change this. So we want to stage that. And this is a typo fix on category value. Commit. And basically we can take the rest of this. You can see that this is the menu where things has been added. So it's interesting to see where things get added to. And we're just going to take the rest and add it as creating views using wizards, and commit those. And then we actually gonna push this to Git on our main thread. And there we're done. So I hope you enjoyed the content of today's video, and that you have some fun with creating views. Feel free to play around with them, create other views, and do some different things, and try the different components. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below, and I'll attend to them later. Yeah, I think that's all for now, and see you next week. Bye-bye.